The vast chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with anticipation. Beings from 1,000 worlds gathered for their annual meeting. At the center of attention was a holographic display showing a small blue-green planet, Earth. Zaxnar, the Council's leader, raised his tentacles for silence. "Fellow beings," he gurgled through his translator, "it's time for our favorite entertainment. Let's check on the humans." Laughter erupted across the chamber. The humans of Earth had long been a source of amusement for the advanced races of the galaxy. Their clumsy attempts at space travel were seen as cute at best, pathetic at worst. The hologram zoomed in on Earth's moon, showing the remains of human visits decades ago. "Look," chortled Vixla, a furry representative from Sirius. "They're so proud of reaching their own moon. They haven't even tried to go further." More laughter filled the room. The council members enjoyed watching Earth's slow progress, certain that humans would never be a threat to their galactic dominance. Little did they know, deep beneath the surface of Earth, a secret project was underway that would shake the foundations of their complacency. In a hidden underground facility, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before a group of the world's brightest scientists. Her dark eyes sparkled with determination as she addressed the team. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said, her voice steady despite her excitement, "Project Omega is no longer just a dream. Today we begin construction of humanity's first seventh-dimensional vessel." Murmurs of excitement rippled through the crowd. For years, they had worked in secret, funded by a coalition of governments desperate to catch up with the alien races that mocked them from afar. Dr. Chen continued, "Our traditional rockets, and even our experimental warp drives, are child's play compared to what we're about to achieve. This ship will not just travel through space, but through dimensions themselves." She pulled up a holographic display of their design. It looked nothing like a conventional spaceship. Instead, it was a spherical construct of shimmering energy fields and exotic materials. "The Omega One," she said, pride evident in her voice, "will be able to slit between the very fabric of reality. Distance will become meaningless. The vast gulfs of space that have held us back will be nothing more than a step through a doorway." As the team broke into applause, Dr. Chen allowed herself a small smile. She thought of all the sacrifices that had led to this moment. The late nights, the failed experiments, the colleagues lost to accidents as they pushed the boundaries of physics. But there was no time for sentimentality. They had work to do. Over the next months, the underground facility hummed with activity. Quantum computers crunched impossible equations. Engineers assembled pieces of technology that seemed to defy the laws of nature. And all the while, the watchful eyes of Earth's governments kept their secrets safe from prying alien surveillance. As the Omega One took shape, the team faced countless challenges. The energy required to power the ship was enormous. The materials needed to withstand interdimensional travel had to be created atom by atom, and the navigation systems had to account for realities that the human mind could barely comprehend. But slowly, surely, they made progress. One day, as Dr. Chen was reviewing the latest simulations, her assistant burst into the room. "Dr. Chen," he exclaimed, out of breath, "we've done it. The test probe. It worked." Chen's heart raced as she followed him to the control room. On the main screen, data streamed in from a tiny probe they had sent through a microscopic seventh-dimensional portal. "It's sending back readings from—" "I can hardly believe it," one of the technicians said, his voice filled with awe. "It's in the Andromeda Galaxy, over 2.5 million light-years away, and it got there in an instant." The room erupted in cheers and tears of joy. Dr. Chen felt a weight lift from her shoulders. They had done it. Humanity had taken its first step into a realm of science that even the mocking aliens of the Galactic Council couldn't imagine. As the celebration continued around her, Dr. Chen's mind raced with the possibilities. Soon, they would build the full-sized ship. Soon, humanity would take its place among the stars. And soon, the laughter of the Galactic Council would turn to astonished silence. Little did they know, the age of human cosmic insignificance was coming to an end. The Omega-1 was about to change everything, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The success of the test probe sent shockwaves through Earth's scientific community. What was once thought impossible was now within reach. Project Omega shifted into high gear, and the underground facility buzzed with renewed energy and purpose. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the heart of it all, coordinating teams and pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. She knew that building the full-sized Omega-1 would be far more challenging than the tiny probe, but she was ready for the challenge. "We need to scale up everything," she told her team during a crucial meeting. "The energy requirements, the dimensional stabilizers, the navigation systems, everything needs to be perfect." The governments of Earth, once skeptical, now poured resources into the project. They knew this was humanity's chance to stand tall in the cosmic arena. Deep in the facility, engineers worked tirelessly on the Omega-1's unique design. Unlike traditional spaceships, it was a sphere of swirling energy fields and exotic materials. At its core was the seventh dimensional drive, a marvel of technology that looked more like a glowing crystal than an engine. Dr. Chen often found herself staring at the partially built ship, marveling at what they were achieving. "We're not just building a ship," she would tell her team. "We're building humanity's future." As weeks turned into months, the Omega-1 began to take shape. But with progress came new challenges. One day, alarms blared throughout the facility. Dr. Chen rushed to the main chamber to find chaos. The ship's core was pulsing with uncontrolled energy, threatening to tear a hole in reality itself. "Shut it down," she shouted, but the regular emergency protocols weren't working. Thinking quickly, Dr. Chen realized the problem. The seventh dimensional energies were interacting with our dimension in unexpected ways. She rushed to the control panel, her fingers flying over the keys as she input a new set of equations. Come on," she muttered, sweat beading on her forehead. With a final keystroke, the pulsing energy stabilized. The alarms fell silent, and a collective sigh of relief echoed through the chamber. This incident was a stark reminder of the dangers they faced. They were playing with forces beyond human comprehension, and one mistake could be catastrophic. Dr. Chen gathered her team after the crisis. "We need to be more careful," she said, her voice firm. "From now on, we triple-check everything. The fate of humanity rests on our shoulders." The team nodded solemnly, understanding the weight of their responsibility. As work continued, word of Earth's project began to spread through the galaxy. Most alien races dismissed it as rumor or exaggeration. After all, how could the primitive humans possibly master seventh-dimensional travel? In a dingy bar on a distant space station, a group of alien traders laughed about the latest human folly. "I heard they're building a ship that can cross the galaxy in an instant," one three-eyed alien chuckled. "Impossible," his companion roared with laughter. "They can barely reach their own moon." Little did they know how wrong they were. Back on Earth, the Omega-1 was nearing completion. Dr. Chen and her team worked around the clock, fine-tuning systems and running simulations. Finally, the day arrived for the first full-scale test. The atmosphere in the control room was tense as Dr. Chen gave the order to power up the seventh-dimensional drive. The Omega-1 hummed to life, its energy fields shimmering with otherworldly light. Slowly, carefully, they increased power to the drive. "All systems nominal," reported one of the technicians, his voice tense with excitement. Dr. Chen took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth. "Initiate dimensional shift," she commanded. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, with a flash of light that seemed to bend reality itself, the Omega-1 vanished. The control room erupted in cheers, but Dr. Chen quieted them quickly. "It's not over yet," she reminded them. "We need to bring it back." Tense minutes passed as they waited for the ship to reappear. Just as worry began to set in, there was another reality-bending flash, and the Omega-1 materialized in the chamber. The cheers this time were deafening. They had done it. Humanity had successfully created and tested its first seventh-dimensional vessel. As the celebration raged around her, Dr. Chen allowed herself a small smile. They had taken the first step, but she knew this was just the beginning. The next phase would be even more challenging, assembling a crew and preparing for their first manned mission into the depths of the galaxy. As she looked at the Omega-1, gleaming in its dock, Dr. Chen felt a mixture of pride and anticipation. Soon, very soon, humanity would take its place among the stars, and the laughter of the galaxy was about to turn into astonished silence. The successful test of the Omega-1 sent waves of excitement through Earth's scientific and political circles. Humanity was on the brink of a new era, and the next step was clear: a manned mission into the depths of the cosmos. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before a panel of world leaders, her voice steady as she outlined the plan. "We've proven the technology works. Now it's time to show the galaxy what humanity can do." The mission was given the green light, and the search for the perfect crew began. They needed the best of the best: pilots, engineers, scientists, and diplomats. After months of rigorous testing and training, 5 individuals were chosen to make history. Captain Maya Rodriguez, a decorated pilot with nerves of steel. Dr. Aidan Walsh, the brilliant physicist who helped design the 7th-dimensional drive. Engineer Zara Patel, whose innovative thinking had saved the project more than once. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, xenobiologist and expert in theoretical alien life forms. And lastly, Ambassador Lai Wei, a skilled diplomat chosen to represent humanity. As the crew prepared for their mission, Dr. Chen worked tirelessly to ensure everything was perfect. The night before launch, she found Captain Rodriguez staring at the Omega-1. "Nervous?" Dr. Chen asked. Rodriguez shook her head, a smile playing on her lips. "Excited. We're about to change everything, aren't we?" Dr. Chen nodded. "Just remember, no matter what you find out there, you carry the hopes of all humanity with you." Launch day arrived with a mix of tension and anticipation. The crew boarded the Omega-1, each step taking them closer to making history. In the control room, Dr. Chen and her team monitored every system. "All systems go," Engineer Patel reported from inside the ship. 7th-dimensional drive is online and stable." Captain Rodriguez's voice came through clear and calm. "Omega-1 ready for dimensional shift. Requesting permission to launch." Dr. Chen took a deep breath. This was it. Permission granted, Omega-1. Godspeed. With a flash of light that seemed to bend reality itself, the Omega-1 vanished from the launch chamber. In the control room, all eyes were glued to the monitors, waiting for any sign of the ship. Aboard the Omega-1, the crew experienced something no human had ever felt before. As they shifted through the 7th dimension, reality seemed to twist and stretch around them. Colors they had no names for flashed before their eyes. "Status report," Captain Rodriguez called out, her voice steady despite the extraordinary circumstances. One by one, the crew confirmed they were okay. As the disorientation passed, excitement took over. They had done it. They were traveling through the 7th dimension. Dr. Walsh's voice was filled with awe as he read the instruments. "Captain, according to these readings, we've already traveled over 100,000 light years. We're in a completely different part of the galaxy." The crew cheered, but their celebration was cut short by an urgent beep from the sensors. "Unknown object ahead," reported Engineer Patel. "It's massive, and it's not natural." On the view screen, an enormous structure came into view. It was a space station, but like nothing they had ever seen before. Its architecture was alien and impossibly advanced. "My God," breathed Ambassador Lai. "We found them. An advanced alien civilization." Captain Rodriguez made a quick decision. "Let's announce ourselves. Ambassador Lai, prepare a peaceful greeting. Dr. Tanaka, analyze everything you can about their biology if we make visual contact." As they approached the alien station, the crew of the Omega-1 felt the weight of history on their shoulders. They were about to make humanity's first contact with an advanced alien race. Suddenly, a beam of energy shot out from the station, enveloping the Omega-1. For a terrifying moment, the crew thought they were under attack. But instead of damage, they felt a gentle pull. "They're hailing us," Engineer Patel said in disbelief. "I think they're inviting us to dock." Captain Rodriguez straightened her uniform, her face a mask of calm determination. "Well, crew, this is what we came for. Let's introduce ourselves to the galaxy." As the Omega-1 docked with the alien station, the crew prepared to disembark. They were about to step into a new chapter of human history. The first cosmic mission of humanity had succeeded beyond their wildest dreams, and now they stood on the threshold of a new era. Back on Earth, Dr. Chen and her team waited anxiously for news. Little did they know that their creation was about to shake the foundations of galactic society. The human era in cosmic politics was about to begin, and nothing would ever be the same again. As the crew of the Omega-1 prepared to step onto the alien space station, light years away, an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council was being called. The impossible had happened. A new species had mastered seventh-dimensional travel, and it was none other than the humans they had mocked for so long. Zaxnar, the council leader, slithered into the grand chamber, his tentacles twitching with anxiety. The room buzzed with shocked whispers and fearful murmurs. "Order, order." Zaxnar gurgled through his translator. "We face an unprecedented situation. The humans have arrived at Outpost Zeta 9 in a ship that defies our understanding of their capabilities." Vixla, the furry representative from Sirius, stood up, his fur bristling. "Impossible. They were barely able to reach their own moon. This must be a mistake." "The evidence is irrefutable," Zaxnar replied, projecting a hologram of the Omega-1 docked at the outpost. "They have mastered technology that rivals our own. We must decide how to respond." Meanwhile, on the alien space station, Captain Maya Rodriguez led her team out of the Omega-1. They stepped into a vast docking bay, marveling at the advanced technology surrounding them. A group of tall, slender beings with iridescent skin approached. Ambassador Lai Wei stepped forward, activating the universal translator they had brought. "Greetings," Lai said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We come in peace as representatives of Earth." The aliens tilted their heads in unison, then one spoke. Its voice was melodic, almost musical. "Welcome, humans. We are the Zephyrians. Your arrival has caused quite a stir in the galaxy." As the human crew engaged in their first conversation with the Zephyrians, the Galactic Council debate grew heated. "We should destroy them now," shouted a warlike species representative, "before they become a threat." "No," countered another. "Their technology could benefit us all. We should welcome them." Zaxnar raised his tentacles for silence. "We cannot act rashly. We need more information." Back on the station, the Zephyrians led the human crew to a grand meeting room. The walls were alive with swirling colors and patterns that seemed to respond to their thoughts. Dr. Yuki Tanaka was fascinated. "Your technology is incredible," she said to their Zephyrian guide. "How does it work?" The Zephyrian's skin shimmered with what seemed to be amusement. "Much like your ship, Dr. Tanaka. It operates on principles that transcend simple three-dimensional space." As they talked, Engineer Zara Patel noticed something odd. "Captain," she whispered to Rodriguez, "I think they're surprised by us, almost as if they didn't expect us to be so advanced." Rodriguez nodded, her suspicions confirmed. There was more going on here than a simple first contact. In the council chamber, a decision was reached. "We will send a delegation to Outpost Zeta 9, Zaxnar announced. "We must assess these humans ourselves." As the council's fastest ships prepared to depart, tension filled the air. The balance of power in the galaxy was shifting, and no one knew what the outcome would be. On Earth, Dr. Sarah Chen paced nervously in the control room. It had been hours since they lost contact with the Omega-1 after its successful dimensional jump. The silence was unbearable. Suddenly, a technician shouted, "We're receiving a transmission." The view screen flickered to life, showing Captain Rodriguez's face. "Mission Control, this is Omega-1. You're not going to believe what we found." As Rodriguez began her report, detailing their encounter with the Zephyrians and hinting at a larger galactic community, Dr. Chen felt a mix of pride and apprehension. They had succeeded beyond their wildest dreams, but at what cost? The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. As Earth's governments were briefed on the situation, preparations began for possible alien contact on Earth itself. Meanwhile, the Omega-1 crew continued their discussions with the Zephyrians, learning about the complex politics of the galaxy and the existence of the Galactic Council. "Your arrival has changed everything," a Zephyrian elder told them. "The Council has ruled the galaxy for millennia, but your mastery of seventh-dimensional travel threatens their power." Captain Rodriguez straightened, a determined look in her eye. "We didn't come looking for trouble, but we won't be pushed around. Humanity has earned its place among the stars." As the human crew and their new Zephyrian allies prepared for the arrival of the Galactic Council delegation, tension filled the air. The next few hours would determine humanity's place in the cosmic order. Back on Earth, Dr. Chen looked up at the stars, wondering what challenges lay ahead. One thing was certain: the age of human cosmic insignificance was over. The galaxy would never be the same again. The tension on Outpost Zeta 9 was palpable as the crew of the Omega-1 and their Zephyrian hosts awaited the arrival of the Galactic Council delegation. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood tall, her team flanking her sides, each of them acutely aware of the weight of this moment. "Remember," she said to her crew, "we represent all of humanity now. Whatever happens, we stand united." As if on cue, a series of sleek ships materialized in the space outside the station. Their designs were as varied as the species that crewed them, a visual testament to the diversity of the Galactic Council. The docking bay doors opened, and a procession of alien beings entered. At their head was Zaxnar, his tentacles writhing with barely contained agitation. Behind him came representatives from a dozen different species, each regarding the humans with a mix of curiosity, fear, and in some cases, open hostility. Ambassador Lai Wei stepped forward, her voice steady as she greeted the delegation. "Welcome to Outpost Zeta 9. We are honored to meet with the Galactic Council." Zaxnar's translator crackled to life. "Honored? You have disrupted the balance of power in our galaxy. How did you primitive beings master seventh-dimensional travel?" Before Lai could respond, a warlike alien pushed forward. It was Kragthor of the Volrics, a species known for their aggression. "Enough talk," he growled. "We should destroy these upstarts now, before they become a real threat." The room erupted into chaos as various council members argued. The human crew exchanged worried glances, realizing how precarious their situation was. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. Engineer Zara Patel's eyes widened as she checked her handheld device. "Captain," she said urgently, "the Volric ship is powering up weapons." Without hesitation, Captain Rodriguez tapped her communicator. "Omega-1, initiate Defense Protocol Alpha." Outside the station, the Omega-1 came to life. Its seventh-dimensional drive hummed with power, creating a shimmering field around the ship. As the Volric's vessel fired, its energy beams simply disappeared into the field, causing no damage. The council members watched in stunned silence. Kragthor roared in frustration, ordering his ship to fire again and again, but to no avail. Dr. Aidan Walsh stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "The Omega-1's seventh-dimensional field doesn't just protect it from attacks. It can redirect that energy." As if to demonstrate, the Omega-1 suddenly released a burst of energy. It struck the Volric ship, not damaging it, but completely disabling its weapon systems. The council chamber fell silent. Zaxnar's tentacles drooped in shock. "Impossible," he muttered. Captain Rodriguez seized the moment. "We didn't come here to fight," she declared. "We came to join the galactic community. But make no mistake, we will defend ourselves if threatened." Ambassador Lai nodded, picking up the thread. Humanity offers friendship and the sharing of knowledge. Our seventh-dimensional technology could benefit all species, but we demand to be treated as equals. The Zephyrian elder who had been watching silently now spoke up. The humans have shown both power and restraint. Perhaps it is time for the Council to evolve, to embrace new ideas and new species. Murmurs of agreement began to spread among the Council members. Even Cragthor, chastened by the display of human technology, remained silent. Zaxnar, realizing the shift in the room, raised his tentacles. Perhaps we have been too hasty in our judgment of the humans. We should discuss this further. As negotiations began in earnest, Dr. Yuki Tanaka pulled Captain Rodriguez aside. "This is incredible," she whispered. "We're witnessing the reshaping of galactic politics." Rodriguez nodded, a small smile on her face, "and ensuring humanity's place in it." Back on Earth, Dr. Sarah Chen received the updates with a mix of relief and excitement. The gamble had paid off. Humanity had not only reached the stars, but was now poised to become a significant player in galactic affairs. As the discussions on Outpost Zeta 9 continued, plans were made for further cultural exchanges. The Omega-1 would return to Earth, bringing with it representatives from various alien species. Meanwhile, other human ships would be constructed, ready to explore the far reaches of the galaxy. The crew of the Omega-1 looked at each other, the weight of their achievement sinking in. They had done it. They had turned the galaxy's laughter into astonished silence, and in doing so, had opened up a new chapter in human history. As Captain Rodriguez prepared to send their final report to Earth, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. The journey had just begun, but already humanity had proven itself worthy of the stars. The age of human cosmic insignificance was over. A new era of galactic cooperation and exploration was dawning, with humanity playing a central role. The universe, vast and full of wonders, awaited them. In the weeks following the dramatic confrontation at Outpost Zeta 9, the galaxy buzzed with activity. News of humanity's sudden rise to prominence spread like wildfire across countless worlds. The once laughable humans were now the talk of every spaceport, council chamber, and alien household. On Earth, governments scrambled to adapt to their new reality. Dr. Sarah Chen found herself at the center of a whirlwind of meetings, briefings, and planning sessions. The United Nations had formed a new body, the Terran Cosmic Alliance, TCA, to handle extraterrestrial affairs, and Dr. Chen was appointed as its chief scientific advisor. "We need to be careful," she warned during a high-level meeting. "We've gained respect, but also made some enemies. We must balance our newfound power with diplomacy." Meanwhile, in the grand halls of the Galactic Council, change was in the air. Zaxnar, the council leader, had called for an emergency session to address the shifting balance of power. "Fellow beings," he gurgled, his tentacles waving for emphasis, "we stand at a crossroads. The humans have proven themselves to be far more advanced than we ever imagined. We must decide how to move forward." Debate raged among the council members. Some, like the warlike Volrics, still pushed for aggressive action against Earth. Others, led by the Zephyrians, advocated for embracing the humans and their technology. Vixla, the furry representative from Sirius who had once laughed at human efforts, now spoke in their favor. "We were wrong about the humans," he admitted. "Perhaps it's time we reevaluated other species we've dismissed as well." As the council debated, the crew of the Omega-1 found themselves becoming impromptu ambassadors. Captain Maya Rodriguez and her team were invited to various alien worlds, sharing their knowledge and learning about diverse cultures. On the lush world of Arborea, Dr. Yuki Tanaka marveled at the sentient plant life. "Their biology is incredible," she reported back to Earth. "They've offered to share their advanced ecological technology in exchange for lessons on seventh-dimensional theory." Engineer Zara Patel spent time on Mechanicus, a planet of highly advanced robots. "Their AI is like nothing we've ever seen," she told Dr. Chen during a video call. but they're fascinated by our more organic approach to technology. Ambassador Lai Wei found herself mediating disputes between species that had been at odds for centuries. Her diplomatic skills, combined with the implied power of Earth's technology, helped resolve conflicts that had once seemed intractable. Back on Earth, construction of new Omega-class ships was underway. Dr. Chen oversaw the projects, ensuring that humanity's growing fleet was a match for anything in the galaxy. But she also emphasized the importance of scientific cooperation. Our goal isn't to dominate, she reminded her team. It's to explore, to learn, and to grow alongside our new galactic neighbors. As Earth's influence grew, so did interest from other species in visiting the blue planet. The first alien embassy opened in New York, followed quickly by others in Beijing, London, and New Delhi. Streets that had never seen anything more exotic than pigeons now witnessed processions of beings from across the cosmos. In schools around the world, curricula were hastily updated. Children who had once learned about continents and countries now studied star maps and alien cultures. The phrase, "When I grow up, I want to be an astronaut," took on a whole new meaning. But not everything was smooth sailing. Some on Earth feared the rapid changes, forming isolationist groups that protested against alien influence. In the galaxy at large, species that had long enjoyed privileged positions in the Galactic Council eyed Earth with suspicion and resentment. Captain Rodriguez, during a rare moment of downtime on the Omega-1, reflected on these challenges with her crew. "We've come so far," she mused, looking out at the stars. "But in many ways, our journey is just beginning. We've earned our place at the table, but now we need to prove we deserve to keep it." Dr. Walsh nodded in agreement. "It's not just about technology anymore. It's about wisdom, about using our power responsibly." As if to underscore his point, a priority message came through from Earth. Dr. Chen's face appeared on the screen, her expression serious. "Captain, we got a situation," she said. "A group of extremists has stolen experimental seventh-dimensional tech. They're threatening to use it to collapse a star system if their demands aren't met. The Galactic Council is looking to us to handle this. It's time to show the galaxy not just our power, but our commitment to peace." Captain Rodriguez straightened, determination in her eyes. "Understood, Doctor. Omega-1 is on it." As the ship prepared for its next mission, the crew knew they were writing the next chapter in human history. The galaxy had stopped laughing, but the real test was yet to come. How humanity handled this crisis would define their place in the cosmos for generations to come. The Omega-1 streaked through seventh-dimensional space, its crew focused on the urgent mission ahead. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her face set with determination. The stolen experimental technology posed a threat not just to one star system, but to the delicate balance of peace humanity had worked so hard to achieve. "Status report," she called out. Engineer Zora Patul responded quickly. "Seventh-dimensional drive functioning perfectly, Captain. We're approaching the Nexus system." The Nexus system, home to 5 inhabited worlds and billions of lives, hung in the balance. As they dropped out of seventh-dimensional space, the crew gasped at the sight before them. A massive device, cobbled together from stolen Earth tech and alien parts, orbited the system's sun. Energy pulses from the device were causing visible distortions in the star's surface. "Life signs on the device?" Rodriguez asked. Dr. Yuki Tanaka checked her sensors. "Confirmed. A mixed species, but primarily human." The reality sank in. They weren't just facing alien extremists, but their own kind as well. This crisis would test not just their technology, but their humanity. Ambassador Lai Wei's voice was steady as she opened a channel. "This is the Earth ship Omega-1. We're here to negotiate." A harsh laugh came over the comms. "Negotiate? We're beyond that. Either the Galactic Council acknowledges Earth as the supreme power, or this star dies, along with billions of lives." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "You claim to want power for Earth, but you're willing to commit genocide to get it. That's not what we stand for." As they talked, Dr. Aidan Walsh worked furiously at his console, analyzing the enemy device. "Captain," he whispered, "I think I can disable it, but we'll need to get closer." Rodriguez nodded, then turned back to the view screen. "We won't let you do this. Last chance to stand down." The response was a beam of energy lancing out from the device towards the Omega-1. But the ship's seventh-dimensional field absorbed the attack effortlessly. "Zara, take us in," Rodriguez ordered. "Aidan, do what you need to do." The Omega-1 moved closer to the alien device, dodging erratic energy blasts. Dr. Walsh's fingers flew over his console, sending precisely calculated seventh-dimensional pulses towards the enemy tech. Suddenly, the device's energy field flickered and died. "Now," shouted Walsh. Rodriguez didn't hesitate. "Security team, prepare for boarding. Ambassador Lai, you're with them. Try to talk them down if you can." In a flash of light, the security team, along with Lai Wei, transported onto the enemy station. The sounds of struggle came over the comms, mixed with Lai's calm voice attempting to reason with the extremists. Minutes ticked by, feeling like hours to the bridge crew. Then, Lai's voice came through clearly. "Captain, we've secured the device. Prisoners are in custody." A collective sigh of relief swept through the bridge. They had prevented a catastrophe and proved that humanity could handle galactic-level crises responsibly. As the Omega-1 towed the disabled device away from the Nexus system's sun, messages of gratitude poured in from the saved worlds and the Galactic Council alike. Zaxnar's face appeared on the view screen, his tentacles waving in what they had learned was a sign of respect. "You've done the galaxy a great service," he said. "The Council recognizes Earth not just as a power, but as a protector." In the days that followed, the aftermath of the crisis brought significant changes. The Galactic Council underwent reforms, with Earth granted a permanent seat. Other emerging species were also given more representation, creating a more balanced and inclusive galactic government. On Earth, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the United Nations, delivering a historic speech. "Today, we truly take our place among the stars," she said, "not as conquerors, but as explorers, peacekeepers, and innovators. The galaxy once laughed at us. Now they look to us for leadership." The Omega-1, now recognized across the galaxy as a symbol of peace and justice, prepared for its next mission. Captain Rodriguez looked at her crew, pride shining in her eyes. "Where to next, Captain?" asked Zora, a gleam of excitement in her voice. Rodriguez smiled. "Everywhere," she said. "We have a whole universe to explore, bridges to build, and wonders to discover." As the Omega-1 engaged its seventh-dimensional drive, disappearing in a flash of light, it carried with it the hopes and dreams of not just humanity, but countless species across the galaxy. The era of human cosmic insignificance was over. A new age had dawned, one of cooperation, exploration, and shared progress. The galaxy had indeed stopped laughing, but more importantly, it had started listening, learning, and growing alongside its newest members. Humanity had not just reached for the stars. They had become an integral part of the cosmic tapestry, weaving a future brighter than anyone could have imagined. And this, they all knew, was just the beginning of their grandest adventure yet.